Correct. I knew my phone was going to have an issue. So it took, I don't know, probably 15 minutes or so to process that, because it's about a 15-minute video. I trimmed it, cut some before content of me playing with the camera and setting everything up, and then the after content of me picking the phone back up off of the got you on a wire hanger right now. While I was away and off camera, I put my device inside of the holster that I'm making for it, and I got some of these edges. It was easier to just hold on to it and keep firm, so I could get some of these good corners and edges. And a lot of these look pretty good, if I do say so myself. And I'll come through and clean some of them up a little bit more in the future, because I still got to do the strap here. But I want to clean some of this up and feel like I made some really good progress on it. So I'm going to knock out some of the nice little fine bits so that when I actually start working on big stuff again, the whole project will come together pretty quickly. Already got some of this processed up. I'm not really too fond of the edges in some of these spots, so I'll clean them up. You'll notice here I actually have already punched the corners out, and that helps the strap portion be a little bit more flexible away from the main body of, because this is going to be stitched to the holster. Again, remember, this will be stitched to the holster, and I don't want the strap to be inhibited by the stitching here that holds everything together. I want the straps to move freely. So I've kind of hogged out some of that corner material, and then I'll punch through the holster, and from the inside I'll stitch the whole thing together. The strap with the button will hold it together there. This will all be stitched here, so there's a permanent belt loop channel, and then through this I'll figure that out. Maybe I'll do a double thickness belt loop clamp. I don't know, that's a lot of work there. We'll see, I'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep working on some of this and shut my mouth. I don't know what I'm doing though. Maybe I'll keep yapping. I don't know if I'm gonna speed these videos up yet or not. I probably should for you guys, because you don't want to just watch me do this the whole time, do you? I mean, it's kind of difficult to get a really good run, so it's not quite ASMR. This is where it pays to have a sharp blade, because you can just shave those little edges off. Also, I am in my garage, and it would seem that of all days, today would be the day that my second light bulb died on the ceiling of the garage roof. Thankfully, I have a handy dandy light bar hanging right here, so it's given some pretty good light for the workspace. Otherwise it would be very dark in here. Again, I am in my garage. That's where I do most of my stuff though, so I'll have to get a new light. Just a bulb, it's just a bulb. But it's one of those weird ones that's got the big LED fins that flip down. And I figure maybe swing by Walmart at some point later this evening, after I'm nice and done with all of the stuff my wife and I have to do. Maybe we can just go for a quick run to the store and get a light bulb for the shop. I'm going to try and convince her, maybe, to help me edit some of these videos as well. She's been all about me doing videos. She's seen me do, I don't know, 100 projects at this point, from housework to holsters to literally, like, I used to do decorative concrete as well. I've done crawl space work professionally. I've done, well, obviously I was in the Army. I got to experience a couple cool things in life. So, you know, if you're here for this, thank you. If you're here for this and you don't want me to keep talking, let me know in the comments. Hopefully I'll find somebody in the comments at some point. I'm confident I will. I'll keep making videos, and I probably will for sure. But you know, I've tried a few times to make videos, and I can't say I'm super into the video game content. It feels like you got to be part of a community and uphold the same community beliefs a lot of times to stay part of the video game community. The most recent one I was on was Helldivers, and I thought it was a lot of fun, but the online community makes a big stink of it. But this is something that took a little while for me to get good at. Ooh, crap. I said good, but you see that? This took me a little while to get good enough at to feel comfortable doing it. Because I've done this a few times now. I learn a little bit more every single time I do it, and that's pretty neat. One thing I don't want to do is do something that nobody cares about. This is something I care about. I care about it a lot. It's actually, I think it's a really nifty thing our ancestors used and worked with leather as their like primary clothing source and housing source, and we just kind of don't use it a whole lot anymore unless it's for like a handbag or something. But I think leather has a multitude of totally legitimate uses. Oh look, see, I just bounced it off of my skin, and well, I got a little bit wider there. I'm gonna try to do this the safer way by bracing. I'll create like tension between fingers so I can, you know, use this motion to really control where the tip of this is going. It helps to, see, brace my thumb here. It really helps to be able to square up with the object you're working on. Another nifty little trick. That's part of why I think maybe this will be the content that I stick with more. It's because it feels a little bit more useful. You know, I put an exhaust system on my truck, and I replaced the dry radiator with a different dry radiator, and did a tune on it and stuff, and that was cool. But that was like that's a one-time thing. I can't really do that a whole lot because I'm not a car guy. I'm not even a channel yet. I mean, I am a channel, but I'm not doing anything as far as motion. And honestly, I'll be surprised. Come on. I'll be surprised if I do, but like and subscribe. I'll be here sometimes, I guess. As often as I can find the purpose or the reason or project. That's let's say the biggest hindrance usually is having the desire to do the project or having a need for a project here I'm kind of turning the piece a little bit while I'm working on it, because it's easier to keep the blade still than it is to pull the blade through. It's also a little bit more risky. I don't know how much y'all know about accidentally cutting your arm or your finger or your leg, or I on multiple occasions have caught myself on the business end of a blade that I should have been smarter with. And I will tell you, you actually should be wearing protection. You should be wearing full protection on your fingers at all times. Unfortunately for me, I got shaky hands and kind of crappy fingers, and so I kind of have to bend my rules a little bit, because I lose a lot of dexterity. I mean, obviously I would lose a little bit more dexterity if I lost a finger, but I lose a lot of functional dexterity with my fingers while I'm wearing gloves. As a result, unfortunately, I do break a pretty significant safety rule. But to sound like a crazy person, like a dummy, and there's another reason I only expose a tiny little bit of the blade, because if I were to make a mistake, I can minimize the risk by not exposing, all of the silver, because that could be a very bad time. Again, I don't know. You guys let me know if you want me to keep yabbering. I'm gonna keep yabbering because this is my first video, and it's not my first video. It's gonna be my first longer video, and I don't know if you guys want to be here for all of it. If you want to see what I'm seeing and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, you see how that's a little lumpy right there? I'm going to clean that up by, hopefully, there we go. It's a little bit straighter than it was, which is realistically all I can ask for. And I know that looked like it was close. I probably ought to put some gloves on, huh? And since this is going to be stitched down, I'm going to clean this bit up, and I'll clean that bit up because that will need to be beveled. But all of what connects to the strap, I'm going to leave really sharp so that line is super defined, even though it's on the inside of the holster. When it's on my belt, you won't be able to see that. But I want that line right here. I want where this connects with the smooth surface of this leather piece, I want that to be as crispy and clean as possible. Just ensure that it lasts a little bit longer. So I'm going to pry this open. I'm going to clean up just a little bit of the edge, not all of it, and then I'm going to leave a lot of these straighter lines alone so that I can exploit them. This time, I'm bracing my wrist against my rib cage. I'm trying to wiggle the blade just a little bit to coax it to cut just to where I want, right? Because I want that to be sharp. I want that to be nice and beveled because my belt will be coming in contact with that, and I don't want it to curl these edges up and make them look ugly. But again, this will be sewn flat to there, just like that, and then flat to the holster as well. I want that edge to look crispy, so, you know, little stuff. It's the here's and there's, I guess. Come on, dude. So this would be easier if I had this straight edge here. One of the things I don't like doing is unbending a holster that has already been bent, because then you start to wear that seam out, and I want that seam to last forever. So the fewer times I fold it, the stronger that seam will be. You may be thinking, well, it's hide, it'll be okay. You're correct. It will be okay. But inches make miles in the long run. I'm pretty pleased with the way this is cleaned up so far. I think for now I'll give the camera a break. I'm going to start game planning this strap here, and when I've got something cool, I'll come back and I'll show you how that's all working out. I'll probably have a little bit more idea, because I want to figure out my stitch pattern. I want it to be clean. I don't want it to look erratic. So I'm going to trace this out, and I'm going to find a really cool way that I can run stitching. Probably, I'm thinking, well, that's not a very accurate tool either. I'm thinking that if I can run a 2-stitch here, I can run all the way down. I'll keep a nice decent distance from the border of the leather, and I'll stitch all of this here, and then off of that 2-stitch I'll come straight across, and then that'll give my belts freedom and mobility, but they'll be firmly attached to the holster because there'll be a through stitch all the way, and then you know, bring it nice and around, and that will actually run through this portion of the holster here. So I'll I don't know, maybe I could rivet these, you know. I could punch rivet this sucker into place right here, and then I could stitch all of this to the body. I don't know, I could do rivets. That could be because initially I thought I could do buttons, but I'm thinking about the strength of snap hook buttons with the weight of this thing hanging on the belt. And I don't know, I think that I was thinking I was going to do triple layer stitching, but that's kind of hard. I've got a piece of tape somewhere with about 40 broken sewing needles because it's very hard to sew through leather. So you pre-punch the holes generally from both sides, and then I'm using pliers usually to jam needles through the leather. And at 3 layers thick, most of the time, any twist or turn cracks the eye of the needle right off. So it might actually be beneficial to me, as much as I hate to say it, to try to maybe, I don't know how I would do that. I'd have to, I think, rivet this section here, and then sew here, but then that's just hanging on here, and then, you know, maybe it's a little floppy. I don't know. We'll see. I'll consult the guide. There's not a guide. I am the guide. I will figure this out. I'm going to game plan on this while I'm not eating dinner later, because I'm going to be thinking about this. Man. Because I don't want I don't want brass rivets rubbing all up against the inside of this, and there's not really space to put a liner in here. I don't really want a liner anyway. I really like a nice natural leather holster. But once that's in there and I've figured this section out, I could probably start thinking about at least dyeing some of the parts, you know, punch the holes. After I've dyed it, I would have to punch the holes here and stitch the front of this together, because I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to do that well before I've got the stiffener or whatever they call it. I mean, honestly, I might stiffen this, but I won't stiffen the strap. I think I'll stiffen this here as well, and then maybe I'll wrap the strap when I'm stiffening the leather, and then this won't get hard. The strap will stay malleable. Maybe I'll do part of this one, and then, well, no, I kind of want that to stay rigid as well. I don't want it to get floppy over time. So I'll probably, yeah, I got some game planning to do. I'm glad I've been able to show you some of this so far. I don't know how long it'll be before my next intro is, but I might wrap this whole video all up into one. So thanks again.